All right, everybody. Hopefully this is going to be a short video, but I think it's important to start sharing some information as far as this topic goes. Some of the important information that I talked about the other day when it comes to kind of the pillars and what we're looking at developing, this particular information is going to be pertaining to the mind. Okay, so really the mind portion of the pillar. When I'm talking about the mind, it includes many different categories, from business to relationships to sales to all kinds of things. And business requires sales. So this is a special snippet for a particular sales training. So if you're in a sales profession or you're considering a sales profession, and we're all salespeople, right? So this is communication, right? So if you're speaking with somebody, and whoever that person is, all sales is taking the way you see something and delivering that piece of information to that other person so they see it the same way you do, right? So it's just essentially communication in its purest form. So that brings on the second part of this, which is, what type of salesperson are you, right? And there is an important thing here that you guys really want to get into, is understanding what type of salesperson you are so you can change it. And I say that is, this is not a natural disposition. This is something that you feel most comfortable with at first. Maybe you can use the word natural, but it's something that can be trained, right? So I'm going to cover that. Before I do, I'm going to share a story, though. This story is related to kind of the way that I transitioned into sales. I've been in sales pretty much my entire life, from an early age to now, and understanding the transference of this idea, right? So when I first started in sales, I was actually I started in sales because I was a personal trainer, and the fitness manager at the time, he told me, he said, "What do you think the hardest part of this job is?" When he hired me, right? And I said, "Well, probably understanding biomechanics and understanding how the whole body comprises one unit, that type of thing." And he came on to actually give me more information, and he said, "Actually, the hardest part of this job is selling." And I was like, "Selling? What am I? It's not a sales job. This is a training job." I'm like confused. What are you talking about? So I was kind of, I was a kid. I was 18, and I was a little nervous. And I was like, "What do you mean selling?" And he's like, "You got to sell personal training for people to actually," and he showed me around the gym. He was kind of pointing at different things. There was a lot of people in the facility, and I'm kind of like wide-eyed, and I'm kind of looking around like, what the hell am I supposed to be doing? I thought I was just coming here to get clients that are already signed up for personal training. I didn't know I'd have to do this. But, being the a challenge-oriented person I am, I said, okay, I'll learn what it is I have to learn. Of course, I role-played with a few people, and I didn't really understand what the hell I was doing. And so, I didn't really get solid training for a while. So I walked around the facility, and I talked to people. And in the process of not knowing what I was doing, I was actually ignorance on fire, because I had no clue what I was doing. So I was going around talking to people, and people started asking me questions. So genuinely, my approach was, I'm going to talk to these people, and hopefully they'll ask me questions about personal training, right? Because I didn't know how to transition into that. And my fitness manager at the time, he said, he gave me a new challenge. He said, "Hey, look, you're going to actually fill out a list." And he gave me this whole composition book. And he said, "I want you to fill out, 3 pages of this about members in the gym." And I was like, "You want me to talk to random people in the gym while working out and headphones on and all this?" And so I was a little intimidated by this. But as I went through the process and I started talking to people, the nerves kind of dissipated, right? I started getting a little more into this, more comfortable in this. Oh, that's how it's supposed to work. That's what I'm actually dealing with, is talking to people. So as I was ignorance on fire, I actually just wound up talking to people about their lives and less about what I was trying to offer, because I wasn't trying to make a sale, right? And so I was just like, I'm just going to talk to people about their life, and maybe they'll ask me questions, maybe they won't. And as I did that, people did wind up asking me questions, which was really cool, right? And the more that I talked to people, the more questions they started asking me. And I didn't know what the hell was going on. I said, "What am I doing?" Like, they're actually asking me about personal training. Before I knew it, I was like one of the top trainers for my first month in numbers, like sales. And I thought sales was easy at this point. I was like, man, sales is really easy. All you have to do is just talk to people about their life, and then they ask you questions. So this was my first experience in sales. Like, I would say first experience in professional sales. I sold stuff as a kid, but it was more like, hey, you going to buy this or not? You going to buy this or not? If you're going to buy it, you need to buy it now. Take it. I was kind of just shoving it down people's throats. But here I was like talking to adults, people that were in the 50s and 60s. I was 18. I felt like a kid at the time. So this is what I did was ignorance on fire. This type of salesperson is called the order taker. Order taker. I want to throw a disclaimer out there. It's not a bad thing to be an order taker. It's not going to get you the best results, but there's parts of it that you want to utilize, and I'll talk about that in a minute. But this is an order taker, right? Someone who doesn't control the conversation, someone who maybe does the numbers, but spends a lot of their time in non-revenue generating activities because I don't know what the hell they're doing. But they're doing a lot of activity, and it's not revenue generating activity. It's like check my productive, right? I didn't have an adherence to metrics. I didn't understand metrics. I didn't understand how many calls and how many presentations and how many things I was actually acquiring in the process. And so that was the first experience I had. And that was me in the process of being an order taker. The advantage of an order taker, and I'll talk more about this in a little minute, but the advantage of an order taker is someone who actually is talking to the prospect about the prospect, or talking to the person about their life, talking to the person about them. And that's advantageous. Okay, so keep that in mind, hold that in your head, highlight in your mind, and hold it off to the side because we're going to get back to that. So then there was this transition where I moved out of personal training and I started doing other things. And now I'm going to talk about the second type of salesperson, right? And this type of salesperson is kind of combined with the other one. So let me tell you, when I first got out of personal training, I started working mediocre jobs and wasn't making much money. So I was really trying to make ends meet. And this was my early 20s or late teens, right? I said, how am I going to make ends meet? How am I going to make this work? So as I moved through this cycle and I saw this decline in my finances, I said, I need to do something else, right? I didn't have that opportunity. So I started in network marketing. And within network marketing, what I discovered was I thought I knew how to do this business because I thought that sales was easy. I had this disposition, being the top trainer in my company several times in a row, and I did it astronomically. I had so many numbers from being, man, I look back and I realize I could do so much better now. I could have killed it with the skills I have today. But my mindset was that, okay, sales is easy. I can sell. Okay, so I get into this network marketing opportunity, and you know, the first thing I do is I move into this platform where I'm just like, I'm talking about what I have to offer now. Instead of actually talking to people about their lives, I'm not really giving a shit about people's lives in the sense of what I was actually offering. And it was more like taking it and kind of just throwing it out there and throwing a bunch of slack. And people are like, you know what? I don't want to hear what you have to say. I don't want to hear your options. I don't want to hear what you're dealing with. You're talking too much. What are you talking about? And then they'd give all kinds of objections, and I wouldn't care, right? And eventually I was able to force them in submission and get them to take my products and buy my products. And I think they did it just to shut me up. I think they were willing to pay the small fee of shutting me up. And that has its perks too, right? This is the salesperson, the type of salesperson we call this is the product pusher, right? This person is just talking about their opportunity, their products, their service, and they're taking this crap and shoving it down your throat. This is what most people see success with. And of course, my scenario is way worse than most people's scenario, right? My scenario was talk. And I was just shoving the idea of product down everybody's throat. And some people actually make a living with this type of sales style. It's not bad because you're actually facing the resistance and you're doing the work. You're just kind of approaching it in a way that could be more effective, right? You're approaching it in a way that actually could be advantageous to you. So the concept is still the same. You're pushing product. And then what I realized was the training in the company that I was working with, they said, pump the brakes, stop being a hunter, stop talking about yourself, be interested in your prospect and how you can help them. So here's as I move through the third type of salesperson. So I take this information, I go, you know what, maybe I'm talking too much about what I have to offer, right? So as I did that, I started actually talking to them, and I was able to see kind of the big picture. And then instead of just talking about what I had, I actually was making it sound like the greatest thing on the planet. And I was giving them all the features and all the benefits and how it can change their life. And knowing as comfortable and as confident as I was in what I was promoting, that I had a firm conviction in what I was promoting. So I gave them the whole enchilada, right? I gave them everything selling at the time. And these particular individuals just did not believe me. So let's recap real quick. In the beginning, I had success being an order taker because I approached people who were already in my target market. They were in my gym. I didn't have to worry about, they were already trying to work on their health and they wound up asking me questions. So I had some success there. And then with the second one where I was a product pusher, I had success there too. I forced it. I was like, yeah. So, and then the training told me not to do that anymore and to do this new thing instead. So I'm sure I am trying to deliver all these features and benefits and make it about the person, but still talking about what I had, right? So I'm shoving this out there, throwing it out there, and I'm hoping that it's like pissing in the dark, right? You're just hoping to hit something. You're like, beep, 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 all these little shots you're taking, hoping that somebody is going to take that, and how rare that actually happens. So that is the whole prospect there, right? So it's like, oh man, that is actually rare. So that's what I was doing, and I started seeing less and less results. Okay, so this one, in fact, the overseller is what it's called. I was overselling what I had, and it's just promising the world and sometimes under delivering. And this was the situation in which I faced, right? So anyway, moving forward, I now got to this position. I've used this out. Okay, so I vacillated between product pusher, being this aggressive, shove it down your throat person, which a lot of people have had success with. And then I also went to this other position of overselling an opportunity, trying to make it centered around the client, but I talked too much. I talked too much about the opportunity that they had, or with whatever products I was promoting at the time. And I've went through sales profession after sales profession doing this kind of thing. So vacillating between these two. So all in all, I moved through that, and up until the last up until the last year or so, I would say a year. I'll say a solid year. Up until this last solid year, I didn't understand all this. I didn't have a clue. I read it in books. I got the information, but something in life just slapped me on the back of the head and said, this is what you're doing, and this is why you're a moron. And I was like, wow, I am a moron. I've done this for so long, and I've done this wrong for so long. So the purpose of this video is to give you the fourth type, the most important one, and the one that you should strive to be, because it's going to give you the maximum results. No one on this planet buys something for the sake of nothing. There's always a reason. And usually it's to solve a problem. And in fact, it's always to solve a problem. When you buy something, you exchange a means of value, the dollar. You're attempting to solve a problem. Okay? And solving that problem, you'll be willing to exchange value, because you're not doing it to give away something and not receive something in return, right? So maybe the problem is you're hungry, so you buy food. Maybe the problem is that you want a house, and if you don't make that payment, you're not going to have a house. Maybe the problem, and I say problem loosely, right? It's not always necessarily a problem. Maybe it's a maintenance style. Maybe it's something that you're maintaining the method that the lifestyle that you're living, right? So the fourth type of salesperson is the problem solver. And I'll tell you, the last 10 years, if I would have learned this so much earlier, my profession would have been very different. The direction of my professional growth would have been so radically changed, right? And if you're thinking right now that, hey, I'm not a salesperson, or I hate sales, or sales is dumb. Well, like I said in the beginning of the video, in the very beginning that we're all salespeople, right? So somebody of something, you had to get them to see something the same way you did, right? What usually wins? Like if you want to successfully convince me of something that you see the same way, and you see a way, and then you want me to see it that way, do you think arguing with me is going to lower my defenses and where I'm going to be like, oh yeah, you're right, and then I'm going to let it go? It might. Or do you think trying to understand my perspective first and getting a firm understanding of the way that I see things and see if I'm open to changing my opinion, if you think that, see if I'm open to changing my opinion or open to seeing alternatives to the way that I see things, and then getting my permission to do so, or getting my permission for you to do so, what do you think is going to be the outcome of that? I mean, how many times have you seen a Republican on stage denounce his party because the other party was right? Argumentation, yeah, you can win an argument, but it doesn't mean you're right necessarily, right? It also doesn't mean that you might have better argumentation skills than somebody. But as far as that goes, you may not actually convince that person, right? That person may go, I know I'm right, but I don't know how to argue that well. I don't know how to put up an argument. So they're not going to still believe you. You may have won the argument, but that doesn't necessarily mean they believe you, right? So what's the easier way is to actually get into communication, get into sync with where they're at, and help them see there's a better way, right? Or if you think it's a better way. Well, you transfer this over to sales, it's the same thing, right? You transfer it to sales. What you're doing is you're saying, I love this product, right? Or I think this product, I have high belief in this product will fix this particular problem, and I'm helping you solve that problem. So if you're going to be a problem solver type of salesperson, or a problem solver in general, so a problem solver in general, right? If you want to be a problem solver in general, what you need to do is ask questions. The key here is to ask questions. I'll tell you many times in my product pushing phase, in my overselling phase, I didn't understand this. I thought it'd be the most important thing is get to my pitch as fast as possible, cut through the crap and get to my pitch. Well, my recent relationship shined light on that because she kept telling me, I don't want you to shove your ideas down my throat. And it kept hitting me like, boom, 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 boom. Stop shoving your ideas down my throat. Stop. And I'm like, but you don't understand. This is how, and I keep trying to push these ideas down her throat. This is what it is like. And she's just resisting and resisting and resisting. And I'm just like, what the hell am I doing wrong? Like I'm making it make sense, but she doesn't want to hear it. So going back to this and how this all ties in, right? No matter what type of salesperson you are, whether you're in a relationship and you've got to sell somebody on an idea, or you're actually in the profession of sales, it's all about asking questions and getting down to the point, right? Getting down to what it is. And the questions have to be targeted toward what you're actually trying to accomplish, right? And so questions is the tool of the salesperson, right? And that's where the power comes from. But you have to see if the person wants that problem to be solved. You know, are you just complaining right now, or are you very serious about fixing this issue, right? Are you actually trying to solve this issue, or are you just complaining? Are you actually trying to get to this point, or are you just venting, right? Are you actually looking for a solution, or are you just venting? And if they say they're just venting, then figure out what their actual problem is. And can you solve that actual problem? Because if they're just venting, there is a problem. But how serious are they about fixing the problem? Well, did they take any action to fix the problem? Did they step forward and say, hey, I'm going to fix the problem, or I want to fix the problem? I'll tell you what, people, if you can't get finances out of somebody, you can't get $1 out of somebody, you're not solving a big enough problem, right? And that's what it's about. If you want to increase that order value, you want to increase the dollar amount that you're getting from people, you have to solve a bigger problem, right? And that's where it comes from, is being able to ask the right questions. So it took me a very long time to learn this. It took me such a long time that when I hear novice salespeople come into the profession, I can see how bad that part is. It's this fact-finding, questioning, understanding where the person's coming from. And that's what makes it so hard to succeed in business and sales, is because these people aren't asking questions. They aren't getting to the bottom of what the problem actually is. They aren't identifying the problem. They're not seeing the problem, and they're just product pushing, right? Well, that's great. You know, hey, have you seen what my products are? Well, how are you going to get somebody to really buy into what you're doing if you can't tie it into? They need to know that you give a shit about them, right? They need to know that you care. They need to know that you actually care about who they are, and you're really presenting your solution as an actual solution to their problem. Not, hey, I got something for you, and I'm going to shove it down your throat, and you're going to say yes because I'm force you, and not waiting for them to come to you, because you know what? They may not know that you have a solution to their problem, right? So this is where skill really comes in, and this is being that professional problem solver. And this is where that problem solver can actually affect all areas of your life, because you're now taking that particular aspect. You're asking a lot of questions. You're getting to the core root of the problem. You're finding the emotion behind that problem, and you're tying it all together in a solution, and you're presenting the solution, right? And taking this from one category of your life into another category is not always the easiest thing. But you will see that as you continue to practice, you will see that you're actually starting to solve more problems by asking more questions, right? Questions are your tools. They're very powerful tools to do effectively. And I just wish it hadn't taken me so long to get it, because I'll tell you, I've burnt so many relationships by pushing products down their throats. I've burnt so many opportunities and bridges because I want the breakage in communication. And I'll tell you, I went through all these different classes and courses telling me you need to be interested in the person you're talking to and not interesting. Well, I was being interesting, right? So the reason why I had so much success in personal training in the beginning was because I defaulted to, I'm going to ask a bunch of questions. I'm going to ask a bunch of questions to these people because I'm scared to death to talk to them about what I'm doing. So me being an order taker was actually reasonably successful in people's throats, and it worked, because I was able to force people into submission using leverage or whatever. But in the long run, it really cost me a huge amount of dollars. And it's an unsurmountable amount of money that I've lost by not understanding what problem solving actually is. So trying to get your opportunity in someone's hands, and I'm opportunity, whatever opportunity it is for a problem to solve, right? So all that being said, I think I'll end it on this note for the sake of it looks like I'm having some connection difficulties as well. So I'll link this video time together, probably throw it in the description when I'm finished. But it's important that you guys really practice this in your personal lives, and if you're in the sales profession as well. Okay, is to dig deep. And so mundane, right? You hear this, the mundanity of it, like, wow, that's it. That's all the advice you're going to get is to ask questions. It sounds like that to me too. When I'm sitting here laughing to myself because it sounds so damn simple, but it took me so long to learn it. And I still have to resist it because I still feel the old habits, right? When you're excited about something, that's what you want to talk about. And I used to think if you don't talk about it, then you're being shady and you're hiding something. But it's actually getting control of the conversation and understanding how that works, and then understanding how to solve the problem. You can't present a solution to a problem that you're not aware of and a problem you can't identify, or else you're just pissing in the dark, and you may get lucky and piss on them. But you know, you may get lucky and get to that point, but the goal is not to piss on them, but actually to help them identify that problem and fix it, right? So that's what I'm talking about. That focus on being a better problem solver. You do this today. This is not something that's going to take you 10 years like me, which I was an idiot. It shouldn't take you that long, right? All you have to do is go, you know what? Instead of trying to shove my damn opinion down, how about I ask questions and find out what their problem is in the first place and how they see things and get a full understanding, because people will be very receptive. How about I ask questions and find out what their problem is in the first place and how they see things and get a full understanding, because people will be very receptive of what you have to offer if they feel understood, right? And so this is advice you can apply to any area of your life, is you have to help them feel understood. This is the skill, and this is why sales is so amazing. Your relationships better, how to actually communicate ideas better. is by truly listening to where a person is coming from. Yes, you can be successful being a product pusher. Yes, you can be successful being an overseller. Order taker, not so much because it's unpredictable. But those two, yeah, you can be successful financially. But why not? Why not make it better? Why not improve your skills to the highest level and be the professional you can be by simply being a problem solver? I cannot understate this or overstate this enough, right? I cannot overstate it, because there is a point where if I would look at myself in the past, I go back in time, I would kick my ass. So let me zoom out and let's go macro level here. And I said I'm going to end this. I know I always make the endings long, but macro level, right? We're talking about pillars. We're talking about what creates a mastery in personal development. And this is I'm taking interpersonal, which means I'm taking it from you to me, and I'm delivering ideas or connecting or creating relationships with people. I'm attempting to solve problems with you, or I'm attempting to be a better friend to you, right? This is the mind level. The body level, and you've got the spiritual level, and all these different blocks create the whole picture. I want to get across in all the videos I'm going to produce now is about getting a good grip on where you are financially. I'm talking psychologically with NLP training and understanding the perspective. I'm talking all kinds of different perspectives to see, okay, these are the areas I'm going to target. Yesterday, or was it yesterday or the day before? It was Sunday. Sunday night, I talked about the body, the human body, and being able to, and I did a little bit about performance and being able to eat right and getting new. I gave my commitment of what I'm doing, and pizza, turning those, because I gave a commitment to you guys, and I'm not going to eat the foods that I like sometimes. And it's just like, this is about commitment, right? And sticking to what's important, and not seeing instant results, but being able to expand what you're doing. I want you guys to make those commitments about what you're focused on now. Is it the communicating with your partner? If you're in a relationship, how am I going to deliver my ideas? What are we arguing about? And how am I going to deliver my ideas successfully? How am I going to empathize with the person in front of me? Because when I hear people say I'm not a salesperson, I have to disagree. I don't necessarily tell them that I disagree, but I do disagree. When's the last time you communicated with somebody? Have you shared an idea with somebody before? Did you sell it successfully to where they understood it? Did you communicate it so effectively that they understood your idea? See, the reason why my YouTube channel took off in the first place is some people liked what I had to say. I didn't start this channel back in 2015 expecting it to ever have subscribers. Seriously, I started it because I wanted to throw a video out there and see what happens. I didn't expect people to like what I had to say. I didn't think people would like what I had to say. But some people out there, the crazy ones, which is probably people watching this video right now, some people out there were like, oh, well, I like what he has to say. And they're receiving my message effectively. Did everybody like my message? Hell no. I am consistently working on becoming better at communication too, right? And I realized that some people are not receiving my message. Now, it's really hard because this is a monologue. There's nobody I'm talking to right now. So sometimes the person's like appalled by what I may say. So it's about presenting a message that can be heard by most people and not appalling random audiences by things that I'm saying or doing, right? Now, am I guilty of violating this principle? Am I guilty of being a product pusher in conversation? Yes, that is my natural tendency. I want to shove my idea down your throat, and if you're wrong, I want to tell you you're wrong, but it's not effective. It's not effective in the sense of how much more effective it is to be a problem solver. So all that being said, I will continue to post these videos. This one's a little shorter than normal because it's late, but other things to do tonight. But that being said, I hope you guys enjoy the rest of your night or evening or whatever time you're watching this video. Good luck with yourselves, and make sure you become a problem solver. Certainly don't remain a product pusher and an order taker or an overseller. Take care of yourself, and we'll see you next time.